I hope we are in the middle of the topic religion. Earlier we have discussed about the various anthropological approaches in the study of religion. Guys, is there anybody who didn't attend the lecture? Please text me. Okay. So in that we have discussed about the various anthropological approaches in the study of religion. We have discussed about the evolutionist approach given by E.B. Taylor and James Fraser, the functionalist approach, psychological approach, and we have also discussed about we were in the middle of one discussion. We were discussing about the forms of religion in primitive society. In primitive societies. In these, we have discussed about animism. Animism, I told you, anima means spirit or soul. We have also discussed how, according to E.B. Taylor, what made human beings to think about the presence of spirit or soul, the twin events of sleep and death. So please go through those things. All those lectures are still available here. As a result, there is no need for me to repeat it again and again. So we have discussed animism, animatism, in few places, animatism is also called as monoism. The impersonal, supernatural law, power or force associated with material objects. Now let us continue our discussion. We have also discussed about totemism. And I asked our students to write one short note on totemism and submit it to me. Until now, almost all our students have submitted the assignment. I will evaluate that and I will give my opinion shortly. So today, let us continue our discussion on the topic religion, where we will be discussing few forms of primitive religion: fetishism, naturism. After that, let us discuss about myths and rituals. What is a myth? What is a ritual? Then sacred and profane. Sacred and profane. After that, if you have further time, let us discuss about magico-religious functionaries like shaman, priest, medicine man, sorcerer, witchcraft, etc. Got it? So now let us continue our discussion. And first topic today is fetishism. This is one type of religious practice. Guys, how many of you have heard this term, fetishism? This is one type of religion which is found, this is very prominent in the western part of Africa. Okay. So fetishism, right, this refers to a belief in some supernatural power which is associated with artificial or natural objects. This may be artificial or it may be a natural object. Then in what way this is different from animatism? I told you animatism refers to a belief in anything or anybody which according to the believer is endowed with a supernatural power or force. Somebody was listening to my last two lectures and I got some comment. Sir, you are fit to be Swamiji. You can take sannyas and you can start an ashrama. You speak very good about religion. Oh no. What exactly they want to say? Okay, fine. So animatism means belief in anything or anybody who is endowed with a supernatural power or force. The most important thing which you need to remember here is animatism has nothing to do with the belief in spirit or soul. Anything, you take any object, a glass of water. I told you, right, the Alaskan Eskimos, they consider even glaciers to have some supernatural power or force. The Melanesians in Melanesia, if they find one object, one stone like a pig, they'll bring that stone and they'll keep it in their farm and they worship that, thinking that such a worship will make their pigs healthy. Even they may consider taking, they consider this glass to have a supernatural power or force. They may worship that also. This is called as animatism. But when it comes to fetishism, here it's not about anything or anybody, but there are some objects that may be a natural object or it may be an artificial object. And people who believe, they believe that these objects have some supernatural power or force associated with that, and they worship that. And these objects, right, find its expression simultaneously in every single ritual or every single religious observations. These objects, right, these may be objects like a starfish, or it may be some other shell, it may be a crystal rock. Sometimes, right, it may be a bone of a human being, or it may be a black rope, or sometimes sun-fried rices mixed in turmeric. There are many such objects, but here the main difference is the objects are limited. The objects are limited, and there are few objects. And people here, they consider that these objects are endowed with a lot of supernatural power or force, and they worship this. This is called as a fetishism. So this fetish idea, right, see, Karl Marx and Sigmund Freud, they both did discuss a lot about fetishism. So according to them, right, fetishism means here people attribute some power or some force to some objects which they do not have inherently. These are, see, this power or force which they think, right, it should be attributed to some human being. But instead of attributing this power or force or supernatural thing, whatever may be, to a human being, this power or force is attributed to some objects. This is a very important aspect of a fetishism. For example, even nowadays, right? Suppose if there is a prayer in a temple, in a Hindu temple, in a Hindu temple, or say a marriage, it will be fine. So in the marriage, right here, the bride and groom will be seated there, and a priest will be there, and he'll be doing lot of mantra, lot of observances, lot of spells, etc. And here, right, we can see a number of material objects. Here will be one place where they will be rising an yagna, and apart from that, right, some decorated pots will be kept, some coconut or decorated coconuts will be kept, a number of material objects will be here. But these are not fetishism, but these are, see, and one more thing, we cannot just confine this type of worship to only one place and one people. The aspect of this will be found in almost all the primitive societies, or sometimes even in the so-called civilized societies. So we use number of materials, right? And the people here, they'll be having lot of reverence for this material. They'll make it sure that these things are brought with utmost sincerity, and nobody will just deal with these objects in a casual way. Will anybody touch these objects using their feet? No, right? They give lot of reverence to these objects. Same is the case with the fetishism. There are number of objects here to which an unnatural power or force is attributed. Marx and Freud very clearly says there is a misconception here. People are not supposed to attribute this power to this material objects. So this material, see, this power or force cannot be attributed to a material, to a starfish, or to a skull, or to a piece of bone, or to a piece of stone. We can attribute. These are the powers which are meant to be attributed for human beings. But here they are doing it to some material objects. Material objects. Here. So fetishism or fetish worship as such has three very important functions. If you cannot say function, fetishism may be related to this. Fetishism as such, right, it deals with three important things. Religion, economic, and erotic value. Religious value, economic value, and erotic value. When you speak about religion, speaking about erotic value, right, people keep things, sir, what you are saying. Religion is meant for promoting chastity. No, certainly it was not the case. See, most of the old religious structures are not available in North India, except in few places like in Bilwara. See, in Gajraho we have the very famous temple. And in South India, most of the temples, be it the temples belonging to Chola period, or be it the temples belonging to Pandya rulers, or the temples of the Hoysala rulers, Hoysala temples, Halebedu. Erotic value, economic value, religious value. Say in this temples in South India, I think I should not see the message for some time. I'll have a look into that at periodic intervals because some unusual messages comes here which really I'm losing my concentration. Come back. So fetishism as such, the fetish objects right as such have religious value, economic value, as well as erotic value. I'll explain you shortly one after the other. So is the erotic value right? Yes, there is a role. There was a time when the very important role of the religion was to make it sure that the sexual attraction between men and women will not die out. If a woman starts thinking about God, I need to bear a baby for 10 months and the pain of a pregnancy, if she keeps thinking about that, if the sexual attraction is less than, if it becomes less than, the feeling about the pain due to pregnancy and delivery, automatically, right, it will put an end to humankind. It will put an end to humankind. So there was a time when the role of religion is to make it sure that there is adequate sexual attraction between the people. And even in most of the South Indian temples, be it Halebedu, be it, you can just Google and see the images of Halebedu, Dwara Samutra, the temples in South India. There will be a number of erotic sculptures, and they want to make it sure that the sexual attraction between the men and women will not die. So that's why, right, the main idea of taking the people immediately after marriage to temple and all, this is one issue. But later, because of the explosion of population and when we couldn't have a control over our population using the existing social norms, slightly there was a modification from the religious from the religion side that there is a need to promote chastity, there is a need to promote too much of norms about sexual restriction. That's why things are slowly changing now. But originally, the role of temple was altogether different. So we had a sex cult where people were worshipping male sex organs, female sex organs, even Shivalinga. The Hindus worship Shivalinga, right? Guys from our students from Northeast, how many of you have idea about worship of Shiva in the form of Shivalinga? The very famous Lingaraj temple of Bhubaneswar. But because of some external invasion and conflict, the main Shivalinga got broken there and it was broken into pieces. It was carried away by somebody else, and only that broken piece is remaining there. The Shivalinga, this worship, right, this is a sex cult. The Shivalinga is a combination of both palace as well as the yoni worship. It's a combination of both male and female sex organ. So fetishism as a religion, it has a lot of erotic aspect, economic as well as religious value. Fetishism as such, right, has a number of role to play. For example, function. I have mentioned here the fetish objects, right, it enhances human physical action of its user. Something very important aspect of fetishism. See, the object extends or enhances I'll tell you one good example. You might have seen people playing table tennis. So first time when I saw people playing, right, I was astonished to see how fast they are playing, tick 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 like this. Oh my God! It's like it's like I'm not going to see your messages for some time, and it's really disturbing me a lot. I will take up your doubts after some time. Okay, few things are very very funny, and few things are confusing, misleading, and I'm getting my concentration disturbed. Okay, see here, objects extends or enhances the human physical action of the user. So here, right, if there is a fetish object, and if people keep spending a lot of time with that, what will happen actually? They will be in a position to use that object in an efficient way. I told you about the table tennis. I said tennis, any game. Somebody is too much associated with that object, the tennis racket. If they keep keeping it, they keep carrying it, then automatically, right, they'll be in a position to use that object in an efficient way. They can play it better. They can play better. Correct? So cricket, people who are addicted with that, right, if they keep on, suppose if he or somebody wants to become a bowler, if he keeps carrying the ball with him, and if he keeps spinning, and he spends a lot of time with that, automatically his efficiency for the use of that particular object will increase. Yes or no? Will increase. So that is one very important aspect or functional aspect of the fetishism. So the fetish objects, because of the human beings are associating themselves with the object with a lot of reverence, a lot of sacred things associated with that, automatically, automatically they are capable of, in real life, they are capable of using that object in a very efficient way. Then fetishism, right, it also has the other role like ostentation. So in literal terms, so if you say ostentation, it means it may be a concept, or it may be an event or something, right, for which the meaning is not so clear. It's a bit difficult to understand. Bit difficult to understand. Paulungchi Gangmai. Paulungchi Gangmai. It's he or she, don't know, please. This Shivalinga literally means penis. No. Shivalinga, right? Shivalinga is a combination of both male and female sex organs. Okay, a combination of both female and male sex organs, both male and female sex organs, and there are a number of myths and miracles about that Shivalinga. There's no need to go very deep into that, and we're speaking about few fetish objects. Okay, see here, ostentation means there are some things which are not so clear, and if you use an example to elaborate that, things may become easy to understand. That is ostentation. Like that, even the fetish objects has some role. There may be a number of aspects in the religion which may not be easy for common people to understand. Here the fetish objects or the fetishism, right, may serve as ostentation, or may serve as a simple way by which, right, people will be capable of understanding. Okay. Then sexuality. It is something very important aspect of fetishism. The sex cult. And then knowledge, aesthetics, and meditation. These all are the various purposes which the fetish objects serves. Then finally, Taylor and McLennan. After studying fetishism, they found that these fetish objects are the worshipping of the fetish objects, or people ascribing lot of sacredness for these for these material objects. Right? It makes one particular thing. So as of now, right, it was just between man and God. Now something in between comes. some material objects, right, comes in between man and God. Some material objects now comes in between man and God. As a result, right, man is becoming more and more materialistic. More and more materialistic. So this is sufficient about fetishism. See, if they ask you to write a short note about fetishism, what are the things you are supposed to write? So what this is a form of primitive religion, and this form of primitive religion is common among the people in West Africa. But this is not just confined only to Western Africa. The elements of this type of religion is also found among people living in other part of the world also. Okay, here people who worship a particular object, right? They ascribe or they give lot of power or supernatural force which those objects, right, may not be having, and they are not capable of having that, but still people think that they are having that and they worship these. This is called as fetishism. So the one very big difference between animatism and fetishism is, in animatism anything or anybody can become an object of worship. Anything or anybody. But here the objects are limited. In fetishism the objects are limited. And it's a bit clear cut when compared to animatism. Here fetishism or the fetish object serves three important purposes: religious purpose, economic purpose, and erotic value. Suppose if onion is a fetish object, then these people they'll spend a lot of time with this with onion, and they may be cultivating that with a greater interest, and that may serve a number of economic purpose. The yield of the onion may be high manifolds in compared to people for whom onion is not a fetish object. Got it? Fine. So the next, are you comfortable with this? Then finally finish. So you need to write about two important things. First, what is fetishism, where it is found, and what fetishism is according to Marx and Sigmund Freud. So according to them, it is a large-scale misconception where people ascribe supernatural power and force to some material objects which inherently do not have any such properties. But it's we human beings, right? We think that these objects have. Got it? Then finally about the other aspects of fetishism. Then finally, what is the opinion given by Taylor and McLennan about fetishism? So according to them, the worship of these material objects, right, brings in some gap between man and God. So now there is something in between man and God, and as a result, human beings are becoming too much materialistic. Are becoming too much materialistic. So the next, are you comfortable with this? Guys, please text me if you are comfortable with this form of religion. Next is naturism. Naturism. This concept was given by Max Muller. Say Max Muller. So this is nothing but it's a worshipping of natural objects. So this type of worship is found in almost every single religion, even in Hinduism. People worship, Panchabuddha worship is there. Every single religion has some reverence over natural object. And worshipping of this natural object is called as naturism according to Max Muller. But he gives us slightly a different opinion for the reason for the people to worship the objects of nature. For the object of nature, worshipping of the object of nature. So people worship objects of nature, no doubt. But according to him, why people do it? Largely because of some misconception or an erroneous thought or error in our thinking process, or because of error in thinking, and this creates a diseased mind, a defective language. As a result, right, we waste life in lifeless things. This you can avoid, lifeless things. Just avoid this thing, guys. What I'm speaking, is it audible to you? See, the error in thinking. We all are not scientists. Only, right, we human beings are there in the earth for close to around at least 25 years as the Homo sapiens sapiens. And only in the last 100 years or so, we have very good idea about science and technology. And even now, there are few people who live in Stone Age who had no clue, no idea about even the use of metals. Even the use of metals. The Sentinelese of Andaman and Nicobar Island, of Andaman. We have two islands, North Sentinel and the South Sentinel Islands. Then we have the Jaravas who live in again these Andaman Islands. If you just think about them, right, you can understand about naturism. See here, error in thinking. So what they conceive about the nature, most of the things have error. I would like to ask you guys, if you ask your grandmother in home, the grandparents, you ask them about a lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse. You can see our grandparents saying, if you ask them, oh, why it is happening, see, suddenly moon is becoming very dark, they'll say, there is one huge snake. That snake will go and swallow the moon, and slowly it will release it. Is this an erroneous thought or not? Yes, right. How many of you have heard about such a story from your grandparents? Similarly, this error in thinking, right, creates a defective language. The very good example is the sun rises and sets. Even now we are using the term, right, sun rises, sun sets, but in reality it is not the sun which is rising and sun which is setting. It is the earth which revolves, which makes us, which gives us a look as if sun is sun rises and sun sets. But in reality the phenomena is altogether different. So there is an error, right? This defective language creates a diseased mind. As a result, we give life to lifeless things. We give life to sun. We make it sun god. So there are also a few others saying like thunder sends rain. Thunder sends rain. So lightning and thunder are phenomena which are associated with the clouds, no doubt. But it is not the thunder which sends rain. But primitive people, they think that if there is a thunder, if there is a lightning, oh, this thunder will send us some rain. So there is an error in the language. This defective language, right, which creates a diseased mind. It wastes life in lifeless thing. Then they start worshipping thunder, lightning. Similarly, you can also see people saying, trees bears fruits. No doubt, it's a natural process. But trees at least have life at least. Okay, so this is naturism. This is naturism according to Max Muller. So worshipping of natural objects, and the main reason behind the worshipping natural objects is a defect in our language which is manifested as a diseased mind, and this diseased mind wastes life in lifeless things and makes people to believe in some supernatural power or force associated with these natural objects, and people start worshipping this. This is naturism. Guys, are you comfortable with the forms of religion in primitive society? One very important topic is over now. We have discussed about animism. Animatism, totemism, fetishism. Yes, are you comfortable? Okay. So now let us discuss the other aspects in the topic. Monotheism and polytheism. In your exam, if there is a question, briefly discuss about monotheism and polytheism. Anybody can write about this, right? Theo or Dio in Greek means God. Means God in Greek. Monotheism means a belief in single God. Polytheism means belief in many gods. Hinduism is a very good example for polytheism, where they have a pantheon of God. In fact, Hinduism is more a way of living. It's more a way of living. Because there is nothing like something which is codified for the entire people. From region to region, the rules, the norms, the beliefs varies. For example, soon we are going to celebrate Diwali. People from Northeast, how many of you have heard about the festival Diwali, the festival of lights? Do you know in North India why they celebrate Diwali? Diwali is celebrated in North India mainly to mark, to commemorate the welcoming ceremony of Lord Rama. Lord Rama, after defeating Ravana, he returns back to Ayodhya with Sita. He made her to walk over fire. All those things are different. That is acceptable in a male-dominant paternalistic society. Why even she should have asked Rama, right? Rama, I couldn't see you for the past 14 years. When this guy kidnapped me, where were you? Why did it take such a long time to come and rescue me? I don't know what all things you have did. Whether you have followed all your dharma. So I want you to prove. Can you walk over fire? No, Rama didn't. Sita didn't ask. In our society, it is the females. See, to what extent we are unjust, right? It is the females who need to take all the pain to prove so, etc., etc. Oh my God. So in North India, Diwali is celebrated mainly to welcome Rama after the battle. In South India, do you know why people celebrate Diwali? They altogether have a different myth. There was one Ashura by name Naragashura. There's a very big demand, and there's a number of myths behind the very beautiful story. Satyabhama and Lord Krishna. Who is Satyabhama and how Lord Krishna gets married to her. And Satyabhama is in fact the mother of Naragashura. There's a different myth altogether. And Lord Krishna Lord Krishna, he didn't kill actually Narakasura. He faints in a battle and it's Satyabhama who kills Narakasura. And this marks the celebration of Diwali in South India. On Drangha Nijo, I don't know it's he or she, I'm so sorry. The question is, so sir, why do we pray Lakshmi goddess on Diwali? Do we have any constitution, man, a written rule that these are the things which you are supposed to do during Diwali? We did not do. And in fact, the Lakshmi worship during Diwali was something a recent phenomena. At village level, right, people do worship small puja for Lakshmi, and this got parochialized, and now even now only in North India people worship Lakshmi during Diwali. In South India there is no special Lakshmi puja during Diwali. Okay, as an anthropologist we are not here to question why that myth is. Soon we are going to discuss. We are here to only understand what a myth signifies. Be it a different myth in North India or be it a different myth in South India, the purpose is to send some message to the people, to create some social law, some social norm, and to make people to adhere to the norm. That is the issue here. Okay, and certainly as an anthropologist at least, we should not indulge in searching through the truth or the real meaning behind, or the real meaning or how it originated, the real meaning behind the myths and the rituals. Okay, so okay, monotheism. So polytheism means a many god. Even in Christianity, right, we have a trinity of God. We have Trinity of God. God. God the Father. God the Son. God the Holy Spirit. God the Holy Spirit. Trinity of worship in Christianity. So these are immaterial for at least for anthropological perspective. So what we are supposed to discuss here is the belief in monotheism and polytheism. First, Lang and Schmidt. They put forth the concept of primitive monotheism. Got this? Primitive. Primitive monotheism. Guys, note down this term with utmost importance, because there is something very important associated with this term, primitive monotheism. So Lang and Schmidt, they say that monotheism is primitive and polytheism is a later day development. So according to Lang and Schmidt, right, whenever human beings encounters objects of nature, he'll be struck with an awe. Even now it happens. So I'm born and brought up in a seaside town, and never right. I have expected that one fine day tsunami will come on the ruined part of my town. People who saw that, right, they are stuck with an awe. Oh my God, what is this? It made us to realize the force behind the nature. Similarly, when man sees object of nature, he will be struck with an awe. Then his pressing question is, who created all these things? One supreme God created all these objects of nature. Or one high God. So this belief about this one high God, one supreme God, right, is found in most of the religion. Even in Hinduism, uh, the Purusha Shukta, of Rig Veda, it speaks about destruction of one primeval eternal being, one Adi Purusha. So Adi Purusha got distracted himself, and it is a destruction of Adi Purusha which led to the creation of the universe. Then subsequently they said from mouth came few, from his nose came few, from his shoulder, from his thigh, I don't know from what all the place through which who are all came. That's a different story. Lang and Schmidt, what they did number of study among the primitive people, that even among the primitive people, they have studied the Bushmen of Kalahari. E.L. Chirmang is asking me, sir, do you think religious belief is still evolving? The very important Kavita ma'am said to teach those topics actually. She'll be teaching it shortly. The concept of culture and society. The very basic and very important aspect of culture is dynamic. And culture keeps changing. Culture keeps evolving. See, about the belief over Diwali, Lakshmi Puja was not the original aspect of the religion, but now things are evolving. And even in the rituals, even in the performances, things are changing. If it is an aspect of religion, it is bound to change. It is bound to change. No aspect of religion is static, or no aspect of culture is static. Every aspect of culture is dynamic. So come back, the Bushmen of Kalahari, then the Andaman Islanders, then the Pygmies of Congo Basin, his Seamangs of Malaysia. They are very primitive people. Even these people, they have some consumption about one high God, one supreme God. One supreme God. So Lang and Schmidt, they felt that this supreme God, right? Lang termed him as Lang termed this primitive or this superpower almighty as primeval eternal being. And Schmidt, right, he adds one adjunct to that he is omnipotent as well as. That means he is capable of doing anything. And according to Lang and Schmidt, so it is this primeval eternal being, right, the supreme almighty. In the course of time, he was not, he found it so difficult to deal with every single aspect of nature. So he had assigned a subordinates, portfolio, allocation. You deal with wind. Lord Indra, you deal with rain. Hey God, you deal with fire. You deal with death. So slowly, right, they also became prominent and this led to polytheism. So remember, according to Lang and Schmidt, monotheism got evolved into polytheism. Monotheism got evolved into polytheism. Earlier we have discussed about animism, the concept given by E.B. Taylor. According to E.B. Taylor, right, animism is the most primitive form of religion. No doubt in that. Animism is the most primitive form of religion. This animism got anthropomorphed. and this finally led to polytheism. And when the human society reached the most civilized stage, this polytheism got evolved into monotheism. So according to E.B. Taylor, monotheism is the most evolved one and polytheism is a bit primitive. But for Lang and Schmidt, they say the reverse one. Monotheism was primitive. That's why primitive monotheism. They gave the concept of primitive monotheism, and polytheism is a latter day development. But nobody can prove what exactly were the fact. So that's why we have a number of theories here. So guys, are you comfortable with the term, or are you comfortable with the topic? Monotheism and polytheism. Okay, so take a break for 5 minutes. So I'll have a cup of coffee and come. So when I come back, I'll discuss about myths and rituals. Something interesting in that. Myths and the rituals. So guys, the next topic is myths and rituals. Myths and rituals. Every human being or every people who practice a particular religion, they will have a mental attitude over the supernatural. They will have a peculiar mental attitude over the religion, correct? And the widespread manifestation of this belief or these attitudes towards supernatural, right now, that is the myth. So myth is a sacred narrative. It is a sacred narrative. Ramayana is a myth. Bible is a myth. Okay, so myth is a sacred narrative. Every people, they'll have a mental idea or thought process, something about a religion, and this gets manifested in the form of a myth. In the form of a myth. But what this myth is, what is its utility? See, myth, right, is generally believed by people to whom it belongs. So there may be a primitive society living in, there may be a, cannot say primitive, a pleasant society, I can say, living in some remote pocket, say in Chota Nagpur Plateau. They may have their own beliefs. And this may form a part of their myth. But for outsiders, right, they won't think that it is a myth. They say, hey, there is something superstition that is not a myth. So myth is believed by people to whom it belongs. Suppose if people practice one particular type of religion and if they have a myth in that, it is they who believe their myth. For others, right, it may look like, no, that is just a sacred story. For example, Ramayana. Most of the Hindus in our country were brought up in such a way that this Ramayana and Mahabharata are true stories. Again, as an anthropologist here, we are not going to search the truth behind Ramayana or Mahabharata. But what I meant to say is, it is a myth and treat it as a myth. I believe in Rama. I believe in the role of Ramayana. I believe in the role of Mahabharata. But we are not here to argue the element of truth behind Ramayana. Really, Rama went down to Sri Lanka are really right. Lord Arjuna was so expert in archery. Is it really that that entire narration of Bhagavad Gita happened just before the battle? We are not here to find the truth behind the myth, but we are interested in what it symbolizes. What it symbolizes. This woolen, it's really difficult to pronounce. Simply, I'll call you as Chanu. Chanu Tauda. Is there any important or any sacred myth which is very popular in Manipur apart from the Hindu myth? You please tell me. Okay. See here, Ratcliffe Brown. According to Ratcliffe Brown, myth is a system of erroneous or illusory beliefs. So that means for him, Bible is not a myth. Bible is something very true. And whatever other people practice, right, it is an erroneous and illusory belief. Right? See, even an anthropologist, right, he holds a very good example for this. According to him, myth is a system of erroneous and illusory belief. There is no element of truth in that. It is largely erroneous and it is just an illusion. But later, so in fact, that he says that people, what they do, whatever myth they have in the religion, right, they try to treat that as a real story. And a myth is the term itself, right? They use it to employ to other people's belief, other religious belief, which they are not practicing. So a Hindu will not tell Ramayana or Mahabharata is a myth. It's a real story. But for people from other religion who are not practicing it, he may be practicing Shintoism. Shintoism is a religion in Japan. These are number one religions, are not Buddhism, Shintoism. They may think, no, it's a myth. What you are saying is a myth. And these people, right, they may have their own myth and sacred narratives. And Hindus may say, hey, these are just illusion, man. These are just erroneous beliefs. These are myths. Got it? So myth is believed by people to whom it belongs. But Malinowski, he was the one who understood the concept of myth in a very correct way. According to him, myth is not just a matter of sacred narrative. It is a compilation which people did painstakingly. The myth has a lot of role in our society. For example, now it is not happening. Maybe some 30-40 years back, at least in villages, when electricity was also not common in all our villages, kids, right, in the evening hours, they'll be playing here and there. They'll be playing with the friends, and once when it becomes dark, they cannot play further. This particular aspect, right, people are missing it. People who are born and brought up in metropolitan cities, tier 1 cities, right, hardly they have such an opportunity to go out and play. But nowadays, nobody is doing that. Immediately after coming back from school, right, people are glued to either the computers, televisions, or electronic gadgets. And it is very tough to push these people out of the home to make them go and play. So, but in villages, maybe some 40-50 years back, once when it becomes dark, the kids will go back to their home after taking a bath or after washing their hands and feet. They may go and spend some time with their grandparents. These grandparents, they'll be waiting for the kids to come back. And once when it becomes dark, they will start speaking a lot of stories from the myth. stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata, they keep saying, this is not just a matter of storytelling. Please keep in mind, it is not just a matter of savage speculation, or it is not just a matter of storytelling, but indirectly at a very young age, by instructing the people about the myth, these grandparents, they are instructing the people about the social norms and values which were prevalent in the society. They were instructed about Ramayana from their childhood itself. That means if somebody is having desire over another person's wife, he is considered as a Ashura. From the childhood days itself, right, they are inculcated with such values. So that so that it becomes easy for the people to establish a social norm, or to make the people understand about the various norms prevalent in the society. See here, Malinowski, he says that the myth for him was an explanatory, etiological. It was not just an explanatory. We are not just here explaining anything using the myth. Etiological means are concerned with the causes. We are not just going to instruct the people by speaking about the Purusha Shukta, about the destruction of Adi Purusha. We are not instructing the kids by the causes. What happened, how the universe was formed. Myth has still a greater role to play in our society. So according to him, myth is not a speculative storytelling. And myth is not a savage speculation about the origin and other things related to philosophical interest. See here, right, every society which wants to codify the laws, they can make a law. They can make other law. But it is a primitive society where they may not they may not have a police station, where they may not have a specialist meant to deal with the law and order. And every time when somebody does a mistake, then by punishing him, right, we cannot make people to be aware of the norms prevalent here. So once when you make a codified law, painstakingly our ancestors have made these myths, so that we can instruct the people about the norms prevalent in the society. So now, for our Hindu friends, I'd like to tell you, I'm also a devout Hindu. There is no doubt in that. Okay, but as an anthropologist, we need to be neutral. We should not have any religious orientation. So only as an anthropologist, right, we can keep this religion just outside, just away from us, and we can view it from our own point of view. But for all others, right, they are just engulfed in the religion, and being a part of that religion only, they can view what religion is. Only we anthropologists, right, can come out of religion and we can view what this religion is. So Ramayana and Mahabharata, right, they were codified painstakingly. Our ancestors here in India, they did all those myths because they want to instruct the younger generation. They need to make it so interesting. So all the battles speaking about the Panchapandavas, Bhima having enormous power, who can uproot a tree and he can fight with the people. So these are how clever they were. By making all these things, right, they have made that story a hit. They have made that movie a hit. It is so interesting. So people will sit, they'll get glued to what these people are saying. But people who made that, right, they know that these are too much and not just an illusion actually. These are fiction, they know. But they have made it in such a way that it will be so interesting. So interesting. And that's why, right, They made the younger generation to sit and get glued to this Ramayana. And I still remember when Ramayana was first made as a serial in Doordarshan. I was then studying sixth or seventh standard. Oh my God, what was the response for that? No matter, see, wherever you go on that particular time, that people will be glued to the television. They'll just sit and watch that for 1 hour. And in fact, the version which they made for the first time, it was so bit boring also. But still, people love. What made them to sit and watch those things? How interesting they made it. That's what matters here. So painstakingly, our ancestors have made the myth, because this is one way by which we can instruct our younger generation using younger generation about the norms prevalent in the society. So myth, right? It also see how much Malinowski explains. So according to him, right, it expresses, it enhances, and it codifies the belief. So whatever belief you have, right, myth can codify this. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And one more thing, see, myth also serves as a charter for interest group, as justification of a particular institution in the society. So to justify particular institution, to justify a particular institution. For example, we have sati. That is something so cruel. Now, you cannot say cruel or inhuman. We don't have words to explain that practice of sati. And we used our myth to justify this. Among Panchapandavas, the second wife of Pandu, who gave birth to that last two siblings, Nakula and Sakadeva, in Hindu myth. She committed self-immolation, not self-immolation actually. She threw herself into the burning fire of her husband. Similarly, in many societies, right, people may practice animal sacrifice, even may practice human sacrifice, and they use myth to justify. So myth sometimes also acts as a charter to justify a number of peculiar institutions found in a society. So by myth also, what we do actually, we link the present social order with a sacred past. See, Rama, he practiced monogamy. You also practice monogamy. Linking the present social order with a sacred past. Guys, are you following me or not? You feel like sleeping, right? Okay, good. Then Ruth, he studied a number of societies about the myth, and he found that most of the myth, right, can be codified into some 8 categories. He mentions about number of things: earth driver, world patterns, spider as a creator, the emergence of human beings in the world. See here, he mentions about one particular thing. See here, the 6th one, that is Ymir. It's a Ymir type of a myth. In this type of myth, right, it says that world is created out of a dead body of a slain giant. Earth is created or a primordial man or woman. See how true. Even in Hindu myth, we have in Hindu myth there is Purusha Shukta of Rig Veda. Purusha Shukta of Rig Veda. Max Muller, who studied this, right, he found that it is an interpolation in Vedas. This is a very controversial thing. According to Max Muller, The Purusha Shukta hymn, right? That the Adi Purusha distracted himself, from his mouth came Brahmanas, from his shoulder came the Kshatriyas, from his thighs came Vaishyas and the Sudras, and few we do not know where from they came, etc. Right? Max Muller, he says that it is an interpolation. That means it was not a part of original Vedas, and in the later day people added these into the Vedas, because Vedas generally were kept in oral tradition. Only during 2nd century AD, right, during the Gupta period, they managed to give a written form to the Vedas. He gives a number of examples to say that how it was interpolated. He mentions about a number of terms. These terms, right, were certainly not there during the time when the Vedas were made. These were a later day development, and the presence of these words in the Purusha Shukta makes it very clear that it is an interpolation. But there is a huge, the way in which he was trolled even during those days. Hey, you are here to translate a few religious texts. Who are you to comment about this thing? And even now, if you just Google in any social media, even in Google and see Max Muller and interpolation of Vedas, you can see number of people scolding him very badly. You are a beggar, you came to India, this, that, this, and this, that. And now even the topic itself was not discussed, saying that no, there was nothing like that. Okay, Vedas are Vedas only, there was no interpolation. That's a different thing, but still, this Yamir type, this is found in Vedas, Rig Vedas also. How one Adi Purusha distracted himself to create the universe. So according to this Ruth, almost the entire myths can be classified into 8 types. There is no need to go that deep. Okay, if you know what is myth and what is Ratcliffe Brown's opinion about myth, and what Malinowski speaks about myth, how he says that it is not just a speculative storytelling, it is not a savage story. Got it? So this is sufficient. Okay, myth. So myth is a sacred narrative. As an anthropologist, we are very much interested in what actually a myth does to a society. What is its contribution in establishing a social order? And we are certainly not here to think about or to do research about the truth behind the myth. If somebody speaks Ramayana is truth, better man, they made it with an intention to make you believe that Ramayana is true. If you believe that, well and good, you believe. Okay, if you believe that, right, then follow the norms, follow whatever Lord Rama says. Got it? Fine. Next is rituals. Rituals, right? So suppose if you go to your temple, or if you go to a mosque for Friday prayer, or if you go to a church for Sunday prayer, Sunday mass. So every time when you go there on Sunday, there will be a prescribed observations. What you are supposed to do after entering the church. So where you will get seated. Okay, what the priest will come and do there. Everything, right? These are rituals. If you go to your temple, suppose in South India, Friday is the most auspicious day. And in North India, Monday is the most auspicious day. In South India, we can always say temples will be filled with the people on Friday. So apart from that, I'll tell you some other good example for ritual. See, once I went to Tirupati, Tirumala, and it was Suprabhata Darshan. They asked us to report by 2 a.m. And close to around only some per day, right? They'll be allowing only close to around some 200 people for this Suprabhat Darshan. We reported there. I was there in the queue, and in the check they stopped me and they asked me, "What is this?" I said, "What is this? What is this, man? There's nothing." Hey, why you are wearing shirt and pant? You are supposed to come in a dhoti and wear dhoti and a towel. You are not supposed to wear shirt and pant for Suprabhat Darshan. But it is 2 o'clock in the night. What can we do? Good. Our manager was there then with us. He didn't leave us. We were just standing nearby only. I think many like me used to come there at same. So then we asked him, try to find some shop where you can get shirt and a dhoti for me. Not even shirt, dhoti and a towel. Good one shop was there nearby and he managed to get that. I wore the dhoti over the pant. That guy said, no cheating, sir. You need to wear only dhoti. I'm not habituated wearing that. That day I realized whenever people wear dhoti, why they give a towel to us. So in that crowd, if that goes missing, at least a towel will save me. Okay, we went there and by 4 o'clock, not even 4, by 3:30, they just locked their entire Santorium. They closed the door, and some prayer were going on. So then they opened it, and we are allowed to stay there for some long time. So awesome it was actually the Suprabhat Darshan. If suppose right, if people are devout Hindu here, try this Suprabhat Darshan in Tirupati, Tirumala. Every day they do this, right? Every day they do this Suprabhata Puja, where morning 4 o'clock they will give a bath to Lord Venkateshwara. Then they will decorate him with flowers and other objects. And that's so awesome. Even the spells there, the rites there, see the mantra which they say, everything will be unique there. This is a ritual. And they keep doing it. Every day they do Suprabhat Darshan. Every day they do the Suprabhata Puja. So ritual means that these are performances, these are observances which people do at regular intervals, at periodic intervals. So ritual, the very important aspect of ritual is, Victor Turner, he explained ritual as a prescribed formal behavior for occasions, not given over to technological routine, having reference to belief in mystical beings or powers. Symbol is the smallest unit of ritual. Later in symbolic and interpretive theories, we'll discuss about Turner. So it is the symbol, but we keep doing it repeatedly. The most very important aspect of ritual is the three important things. Formality. Stereotype. Condensation. That is fusion. Then the most important aspect is the redundancy. That is repetition. Formality, right? The most of the things that do it for formality. For example, during marriage, what they will do, they'll follow some rituals. So they will take the bride and the groom and they'll show. Can you see Arundhati star here? It says, sir, daytime, how we can say star? Hey, just to see and tell. This is formality. You say that, yes, we are seeing this. Yes, star is there. This formality, right? Then stereotype. That means things are so stubborn and fixed here. We cannot change anything here in the ritual. So if you're supposed to do these particular things in a ritual, they will be doing it. Okay. Condensation or fusion. That means here, right, all the aspects of religion fuses here in a ritual. The spiritual aspect, all the aspects. Then redundancy, that means repetition. Suppose I told you about Suprabhata Puja. That is a ritual. They do it every day. The very important aspect of ritual is this redundancy or the repetition. Rituals gets repeated at periodic intervals. At periodic intervals. So it is a form of communication. Ritual is a form of communication. Everybody, right, will not be allowed to do the rituals. Only few people who are specialists in religion, right, they'll be performing the rituals. There are few things, I have mentioned few things about this Anthony Wallace and Edmund Leach and their opinion about these rituals. You can just stop market, write some one line about Leach and Wallace. Okay. There are few other things which are associated with rituals. These look like rituals, but these are not rituals. One such important thing is rites of passage. In French they say rite de passage. This means rite. What is a rite? Rite is also a performance. Rite is also an observation which looks like a ritual, but this will be performed only once on an individual. That redundancy or repetition is not an aspect of a rite. Rite is also an observation, just like a ritual, like a performance like a ritual, but rite marks the transition of the people from one stage to other. Opanana Sanskara, the sacred thread ceremony. The sacred thread ceremony is performed among young kids. So that marks a transition actually from a toddler, from an infant stage. Now ceremoniously these people are inducted into the Brahmacharya ashrama, and hereafter they need to join a school or a ashrama to study or get trained under an established guru. In most of the societies, even in Hinduism until very recently, post-pubertal rite are very common for women. When a girl attains puberty, it will be easy for the parents to identify by seeing the blood stains, etc. Then what they will do immediately, right? They will just inform all the relatives or the friends and neighbors that the daughter had attained puberty, and they'll have one detailed ceremony. And during the ceremony, what they will do, they will isolate this woman. There will be a number of purification ritual. What they will do, there are a number of codified rituals here. In South India, the maternal uncle of the girl, right, he need to come and he need to construct a small shelter by using coconut leaves, and this girl will be made to sit there, and other ladies will go and give her a bath using turmeric water. And then there will be one detailed ceremony and she'll be inducted back into the system. So this, how many times they will do? They'll do it only once, right? So this is a rite. So this is a post-pubertal rite. So this marks the transition for this girl actually. Earlier she was an infant, she was a kid, and now she is an adult. She is sexually fertile. So this day, the ceremony they do it largely to inform the public and the relatives that the girl is fertile and she is capable of bearing kids and she is now ready for marriage. So this is a rite. This we call it as a rite de passage. So this rite de passage is common among a number of societies. I have given you one example of the Gisu type of Uganda. So I told you about three things, right? Victor Turner, while working among the Nedumbu tribe of Zambia, he found three important aspects during the rite of passage. One is the separation, number two, transition, and number three, reintegration. And the reintegration. Okay, so I have told you an example of for this Gizu of Uganda, where what they do among the Gizu of Uganda, they do one right to the boys. So boys, once when they reach an adolescent stage, and when the secondary sexual characters are just developing, so what they will do, one fine day they will organize a rite for which the boy will be brought here, and publicly they will do circumcision. Circumcision, that mechanically cutting down using a knife, right, cutting down the portion of your skin in the front portion of the penis. Even now it is practiced in Islam. The many tribes practice this even now. They do it publicly without giving any anesthesia. The boy need to bear the pain while doing that. So they do it largely because this is one right actually, because now he is an adult. Adult, right, he need to develop a number of manly characters. He should not fear. He should not fear each and everything. He should know what is pain. There is even one meditation I heard, I just forgot what exactly that is. That meditation what they do, they make us feel that see, pain is also a sense. The pain is also a feeling. So once when you get a pain, right, do not try to escape from that. Sit and aram say, feel how the pain is. They'll make us to sit by making the legs fold in a particular way. So beyond 2 or 3 minutes, it may create pain. They'll ask us, you bear the pain, feel that pain. Pain is also a feeling. Please try to do not run out of pain. That really will make the people very strong. Similarly, here also what they do circumcision in public. And it is because, right, they believe that these people should get some quality which they call it as a lima. Lerima is a psychological trait. This trait, right, is a manly trait. A manly trait. So by doing the circumcision, right, this boy will become brave. He will become aggressive. He will behave like a man. He is capable of protecting the woman. He is capable of fighting, etc. Okay, so this is one example. So later there are a number of such examples which I will tell you. Okay, rite de passage. Next is the rituals of inversion. Rituals of inversion, something very interesting. See, we have made a number of very strict rules and we have codified it, and we are making our people to follow these of the daily day-to-day life. We know this is not a natural way of living. It is something unnatural, making them to follow these rules, making them to sticking on, making them to adhere to all these rules, and by making this, we are making their life very, very tough. But there is no other way. We need to make these rules and we need to make the people to follow. Then only we can have some social order. People can live in peace. If you do not allow them to, if you do not make such rules, right, then there will be a total anarchy and people may fight for everything. To prevent that only we have made these rules. But how long? We need to give a break to the people, right? So rituals of inversion, these are actually sometimes there are a number of societies where for specific reasons these norms, right, will be reversed and the norms will be relaxed now. People will be allowed to deviate from the norms, but only for a stipulated period of time. One very good example is the carnival. Before speaking about carnival, I'd like to tell you about one very important author, a writer. His name is Perumal Murugan. A very famous writer in Tian. He wrote one very famous book, Martor Bohan. It was translated in English as One Part Two Man. He was a very famous writer, and once when this book was published, there was a hue and cry among the people from a Hindu fundamentalist organization, and there was too much of threat for him, life threat for him. They're saying, we are going to smash you, we are going to throw you into fire, this, that. And Perumal Murugan, right, once he immediately declared in his Facebook page that the writer Perumal Murugan is dead. Okay, I will take back all my books, all these old books, and I will not, hereafter I will not write. This issue became a big issue. And just during this time, there was one conference, one exhibition cum conference which was organized in Germany. That was a large book fair. There, to show solidarity for Perumal Murugan, what they did, continuously, non-stop, maybe one person will read a few pages for 5 minutes. He'll give the book to next person. He'll continue to read. Like that, right? That book was read continuously for 2 days to show solidarity. What he mentions in that book of One Part Two Man. So there is one temple called as Ardhanadishwara temple. This is a temple meant for sex cult originally, and here now the temple, right, is devoted to Lord Shiva and Parvati. Half the image will be Lord Shiva and half will be Parvati. So in Ardhanadishwara temple he mentions about one particular ritual, but even there are few other texts also which he mentions about this ritual, but we don't know why they become so angry on Perumal Murugan. Here what they do, there is one particular festival he writes in this book. There was one particular day in a month where people will gather in the temple during night hours. There will be some special ritual or puja during the night hours after 10, after 10:30. And here, right, most of the people or most of the women who didn't get conceived, right, they'll come with their husbands here. They'll come here. And beyond a particular time in the night, rules will be relaxed. And the woman here, right, they can sleep with any man. They can have sex with any woman there that day night. So the belief is next day morning, when they go back to their home with their husband, they'll be carrying baby, at least somebody else's baby. He mentions about this, and this is one example for rituals of inversion. There was a hue and cry, and he was forced to take back his writing, and but later, right, even High Court declared it's a fiction. There is nothing wrong in what he has written. Okay, and there was no ban on the book, and now that book has been translated into English also as One Part Two Man. And Perumal Murugan now continues to write. So this is one example for that what happens in that Ardhanadishwara temple. That is one example for inversion of rituals. Same is the case with the carnival in Europe. mainly in Italy. So the carnival will be there for 5 or 6 days. And during this time, right, all the rituals or all the norms will be relaxed here. Now, the nightclubs in the city, for mostly there's one city called as Boza in Italy, where the carnival is very, very famous. Here, the nightclubs will be open for a long time. They won't close the nightclub. And even in the home, right, parents will not ask the girls, why you are coming back home late? And people write, there will be a lot of romance in the public itself, it seems. Nobody will be bothering and nobody will be asking anybody, and there are no rules, no norms now. This is one example for inversion of ritual. But once when the carnival ends, then people need to come back to the normal, and all those relaxed norms, right, will not be applicable now. People are supposed to follow the strict norms hereafter. This is inversion of rituals. I hope you are following this inversion of rituals.